couple of minutes to probably use the bathroom or grab yourself a drink. There's a coat rack over there if your folks are uncomfortable. Let's start this couple minutes. Workshop just before this. Thank you to all our workshoppers who are around tonight. We are going to have an open mic and then our two featured readers. I want to start off tonight with a land and labor acknowledgement. We want to acknowledge that this event is being hosted on the unceded traditional homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. Many other tribes, such as Miami, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Sauk, and Fox, also called this area home. The region has long been a center for Indigenous people to gather, trade, and maintain kinship ties. Today, one of the largest urban American Indian communities in the United States resides right here in Chicago, continuing to contribute to the vitality of the city, to celebrate their heritage, practice traditions, and care for the land and waterways. We invite you to explore the unceded homelands, which you on the live stream at home find yourselves, as well as we take this moment to honor all who came before us, the Indigenous peoples displaced by colonization, as well as those who built this country through uncompensated and compulsory labor, those enslaved and those oppressed. We honor those who came before and all those who continue to live on this land as we hold this shared space for art and expression. So, welcome to Blue Hour. This is put on by the Chicago Poetry Center. Our mission is to connect people to poetry, equitably engage poets with communities, and foster creative literacy in the city and beyond. There's information about our various programs, including programs for students, particularly those in Chicago public schools, as well as our Critical Conversations anti-racism program right there at the back table. Today's the last day to vote for us in the Reader's Best of poll. We're up for Best Reading Series of the window for whoever your heart desires, especially if that's us. All right. So Blue Hours workshop, as I mentioned, it basically sells out every month, so sign up early for that. Our reading series happens every third Wednesday of the month. In March, we will have Ken Lam and Dan Quintos. In April, we have Julian Randall and Maya Pindick. And then we'll close out this season in May with C.M. Burrows and Eugenia Lee. And then, I got a new for Eugenia Lee. And then in July, we have our big summer poetry gathering. More information about that to come. Helene, can you bring me the bag open mic thing? This is new. This is only the second month that we've done this. We felt like what was lacking in this reading series was a chance to hear each other. And so we have an open mic. It's very fancy, as you can tell. So I'm just going to pull out 5 different names, and then that person's going to read, so it's a surprise. Stay tuned. First up, we have John Woolwine.
Hey y'all, so this is my first open mic, so thank you for having me.
Yay!
I made probably a mistake and try to recite this from memory, so I still don't know my phone. I'm sorry. So this poem is about a dead bird I saw, and it's called A Yellow-Breasted Chat. And it starts with a little epigram from Robert Bridges' poem, 21, which is more not the high sun summer spent. Green and gold, and small as reeds in spring, a bird lays in a puddle of fresh sleep. A week before its fall, I heard it sing, and now its colors bend beneath my feet. Will my window whir if I forget its song? Its throat seems full, yet still, a hollow beak that never scolds beneath a winter throng of clouds so gray they dull your cheek. You caught the wind like letters cast aside. You came to me as lilies dipped in bronze, now flecks of rust and moss. I can't divide the sea just to hold you for a second in my palms. You perched outside, so nothing ever stirred. I sought your face. You call without a word.
Beloved, close your eyes and let me tell you how I feel, because my mind is always racing and I cannot tell what's real. Only know you for a second, though I sit and reckon still, thinking do I deserve this chill. I've been through the dark days when the abstract turned its back, going through the motions just to get myself on track, reflecting on my demons, the abilities I lack, but I know when I'm with you, it's chill. Girl, you make me feel like a man, you got me entranced, you make me lay my guard down, along with the pen. Yeah, it's been a short while, though it feels so advanced, but without you I can't lose the will. I'm torn between the chance it's truly you that I'm embracing, or is it just a better me my tender self is chasing? When uncertainties are flowing, certain goods just can't be wasted, but I don't even know you, let's face it. Gotta bring my mind back, it's ahead of myself. Need to put the boy first, and keep building my health. And if the time comes, I'll give you a deal, but for now, let's just enjoy the feel. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Khalil. And next up,
but that's incredibly unpopular right now, which is fine because I've been writing nothing but tragedies lately. So this is a poem about trying to get back with the one that got away after a marriage failed. It's called Paramour Brought in Clarity. So just watch out for double and triple entendres and archaic definitions of a word, because everything that I put in there is absolutely on purpose. Enamorada, regrettably unchosen. Mind fractured at recollection and regret. Guilt carried a dozen sun ellipses. Negation of calloused heart's repulsion. No soul may forgive as we plead for mercy, nor everyone is as I, forgiving like a child with canine loyalty. Met with Gorgon's gaze, never forget nor forgive. Self-preservation perceived as aggression. Yet I pleaded for time when only weak men and cowards seek extensions, or so we're told. Pleaded for time for a companion through healing, illusion to pick up from a long lost pause. Fill these fissures, I thought, and I'll give you the world. But she never asked for planetary gifts. Yet I pushed. I thought to ease into encampments where she could start smiling memories with me. Memories I wonder if she chose to forget or bury. There I lay with flint and steel that an old campfire I had built, but I never learned to tell the viability of coals. My delusion soaked in hopes of past embrace, I hung as a flayed man instead. For when the light went out, I was made to feel as monster once again. Dear me, we over-asked. Her arms sure felt like home. Thank you.
Thank you, Riel. And let's see who's up next. Dan Weinberg. We have a small content warning, correct, for this? Just there's some mentions of violence in this poem. So, and I should have done this earlier as well. I want to encourage everyone to self-care. If any moment you feel like you need some air, you need to step out, anything, please feel free to take care of yourself in those ways. With that, please welcome up Dan.
Thank you. I've been in a few open mics before. I'm shaking because I have Parkinson's. What's so good about education? What's so good about education? What if the teachers and parents don't do half their jobs? What if teachers pass their students even if their students do no work or homework? What if students ignore the sick student and say nothing to teachers? Or if they say something, the teachers say or do nothing? What if the student does not know how to ask for help? And what if he knows enough to lie whenever someone asks if he needs help, that no help is needed? What if by constantly lying, the student starts to believe that yes, he does not need any help? Is this creating a big problem? What if this goes on year after year? What if this person went to an acquaintance and asked for a shotgun, and the door was closed in his face, but he never remembered asking? Would that be a false, forgotten memory? Should this person believe the acquaintance telling him about the ask or not? Is this like the USA forgetting about democracy and justice and equality under the law? What was the shotgun for? His family? Himself? His acquaintance? Is this like the USA using guns for fun? Who knows? Thank you.
And it will be Melody.
Hello everyone, this is my first open mic actually. The poem I'm going to read tonight, it's called Calabash, and I'm from St. Lucia, which is a Caribbean island, and we have something called the calabash tree, and the calabash is this big green fruit that you can't eat, so it's just there and it's huge, but it's used for other things like making bowls and for holding soup and decorative purposes, and I feel like it symbolizes just the fullness of life, and I really just enjoy sitting with the calabash tree, and it reminds me of home and the symbolism of nature. So here goes. Calabash. The calabash and its tree, two dancing spirits, a restless abundance waiting for the sun, ablaze with a tamed love, to capture its green poise, a holy gesture on the sweet Caribbean breeze. The two, a heavy bond, a whispered voice humming without cease. The calabash, like a bomb incapable of explosion, anchors itself fruitfully and weighted. Luscious happiness sits as a bodiless head, smooth belly or swollen eye, its shell skeleton soup. The calabash is a child of ages, a giant's cheek, a globe of juice and a teasing ornament, a vessel. The calabash, a slap of clarity, yet a blank canvas waiting for touch. The touch of a bosom ripe with wisdom and the suckle of the wind's gentle push. With leaves as open palms facing a sky slanted in greeting, meeting invisible, present and heavy touch with joyous glow and aroused lilt, hands a proud calabash. A friend too grown for my unhealed wounds. The wounds of a growing desire to return to the past and sit under the canopy, at the roots, with my nothingness. Thank you.
Thank you, Melody, for closing that out for us. So many first-time open micers. It just makes my heart so happy. Okay, so I am excited to introduce Natasha Mijares as our first featured reader. I just want to check. Denise is not here. Okay, so it's possible we will just have one feature tonight. I'm really hopeful that Denise is okay, and we are sending all that hope out to the world. Perhaps it's a CTA problem. These things do occur. If she can't make it, we'll do a little more open mic at the end. So yeah, but in the meantime, I'm super excited to introduce this feature, who is a long-term friend of the Chicago Poetry Center, someone whose work I have loved for a while. I was talking the other day with someone about sort of what they go to poetry for, and this person was saying, well, I go for story, like I always want story. And so we had this interesting conversation around what does that mean to go to poems for story, right? And she was very much saying like the narrative poem, right? And I was like, right, but aren't there other ways to tell stories? And I was thinking about Natasha's work, and I was thinking about the ways in which stories can get fragmented and fractured and reassembled and get told in ways that can be, in some ways, more authentic necessarily than telling a this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. So I will now read the actual bio now that I'm finished rambling about Natasha's work. Natasha Mijares is an artist, writer, curator, and educator. Her debut collection of poetry, Violent Wave, is forthcoming in 2023. She received her MFA in writing from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. She's exhibited at various international and national galleries. Her work has appeared in Gravity of the Thing, Hypertext Review, Calamity, Vinyl Poetry, and more. Please join me in welcoming Natasha.
Thank you, Marnie, for your lovely words. And thank you to just everyone at the Chicago Poetry Center for everything they've always done. I feel like, especially for anyone here who you're new to the Chicago Poetry Center, or like this is one of the first events that you've gone to, feel free to stick around. It's a great place. Everyone's nice. Yeah. So, I think the poems that I have today, these are kind of like newer poems that I've been working on for a while. So some of them, or most of them, are haikus, which, if that's like a new word to you, it's basically a prose poem that has like a haiku at the end. So this form has kind of fascinated me as I've seen it kind of like creep up in certain collections, and I'm seeing this form kind of like call to me a little bit. So most of them are this. There are some that are not. And so all of these poems are kind of like a part of a manuscript I've been working on now, in which like one of it is like, it's in 3 parts. And so one part is like this, kind of collection of poetry or sections of poems. Another part is more of like a nonfiction piece, and then the third is more of an interview. So I think in this work, I'm just really trying to have, and this is true of my other manuscript, that all of these things are kind of flowing together. So there's no titles, there's numbers, but I'm not going to say the numbers. So that's what's going on. The goal of recovery is to relinquish one's ties to the loved object. The people object is mist and stone. The people object is hiding from everyone else. The way an orchid fixes itself, its disc, is naked, missing pouch, fiber, and center. My breath lives in every retrograde movement of an insect. I spend my days trying to remember every place I've ever been to. I wonder how long it will take to forget certain memories. My own music sings out from a gate that can't lock. How do you know the way home? Fun fact about this next poem is that some of, these are like real texts between me and you. You know how we can see long dead stars because they're so far away? But they are here in the present, our present. When they're alive in their time, what would we look like? Could they see us? Me. I think we would look like seeds on the fruity earth. You. Who says we're not? Lie down in the back seat. Find the moon from the car's rear window. Watch it follow us. I know that it too is going home. How we regularly leave our body. At the top of a sea of pine trees, the only punctuation is church steeples. The messiness of eating a granizado as a tiny amount of freedom, a tiny church. Blue syrup spilling from the swaying of an unruly choir of children. She hides in the hallway to listen to him, listen to the radio. A transistor can serve as a pulse, the heat of an animal. another soap. She learned to accept the ambiguity that surrounded her. A bonsai tree or tree in a bowl, and their companion plant or grass that stays underneath. Its shape is never accidental. The hair caked into the soap, a yellow gas drain and a bright blue ball, a slice of lemon poppy seed cake, and it's crumbling. A CD that has been washed of its iridescence, and a twiglet. An artist makes companions in a folded map. A bonsai tree grows against a window with an oak tree gazing upon it. The gentle whisper, a green passing, or when a loved one goes by me. A fear of pausing is a fear of death. There are people throwing fireworks every day in the late afternoon heat, with the shadows of buildings holding their necks in place. It pops and bangs and guffaws into the air with a spontaneity, a combustion that we crave for. In the next context of ambiguity, the firework does not go pop. It stands still in a vat of water, and its wick erupts into silent bubbles. I become a nun on my knees, pop, switch, bust. Too many moons to carry in my mouth with all of this heat. I fear the way the body will react to its new geometry. We attach our significance to distant words like paramour and discreet. When the body accumulates too many words, it cleanses itself of grammar. Research is like hide and seek. Two friends listen to each other cook on the phone. The words of affiliation are buoyant like moon clouds. We rest at the inhales of others. Here I come. The words that cover us in their gender, their affect, the words we apologize for. Ready or not, they vaina, many, slip, to me. So in writing these haikus, kind of a process that I would do is that I would take one line, so like I would write one every week or so, and so when I was ready to write the next one, I would look at the last one, and I would take one line from the last one and start into the next. So you might hear something. We rest at the inhales of others. I have been waiting for the sun to passively approve me, to taste my skin and all of its clay. I want the wings of a bird that has a misnomer for a name. I want the generosity of pollen. During my long walks, I whisper abashedly at aging buildings. The sun forgets me in its descent, the shadowy displacement of our human energy. I was asked to define light, and all I said was, into heaven our arms grow into grace. Wings are nothing but a mother's carrying breath, stitching yourself a start. Honeysuckle fingers and the din of an accident unfurling. I have grown used to seeing myself in the troubled languages of ancient beasts. I begin to peel back my own dead skin, salted, hairy, crystals, gray or light. Several stories are about me without you being a main character. Are you in your dreams, or are you just the camera? A houseplant that does not grow in any of the sunlit corners. A map of Santander is the map of your room, is the map of the waters you know, is the map of all the bodies you want to I can twist my hand to hold the sisters of heaven, salted, hairy crystals. Gambling on absolute positions. The families kept their boundaries symbolically open. The boy is home, but in a new way. The security of known misery. A boy is nothing but a dream. Take me away from this land and put me on a ribbon of music, nothing but a sweet song. My longing, infrequent vowels. They discover misery in the bones. When you sleep, wake, and become aroused, we become aware of the stinging sugar, breath, home. A family is a woken dream. We play red light, green light, tell the players to go, closed eye. In Greek, crisis means turning point. Once we know the source of our helplessness, the bell reverberates throughout the household. I try to temper my hunger for mastery. People have to experience a phenomenon before they can understand it. Animals maladapting to a land, controlling destiny. A room of shaking vacuums and mirrors, prisoners of her bell. We speak out like a dictionary in a muffled regalia of letters. She wears a word that she has yet to learn. People have to experience a phenomenon before they can understand it. Roizen sings of Murphy's Law, the slow drag of a disco floor, the clicking of teeth as they grind in your sleep, the pitter-patter of primroses flapping against the window-blown pane. A sap tree gives itself as meandered matter that sticks and stains its way into the night. I want to turn everything I hold into Florida water, wild and unearthed, battle, sin, and center. I become an unequivocal balance and bird. The meter shakes out its unintended vowels. I just have about 3 more. Involving someone. Tunnel, pocket, oil dripping off the side. I make friends with people who are lost and from nowhere, admiring how translators articulate imperfections, the heaven of a loose tooth, an ashen winter sky at midnight. Women interrogate me by showing me pieces of a tapestry to identify with. What do you like about this one? That it's dark. My voice in supplication. Ducks scraping ice ponds mouthed by water. Why do they call it a stone fruit? Enteros or love, returned in the form of a state change. So this one's not good, but this one is a fun exercise. People like games, in which you just take 6 words, and those are the only words you can use in the poem. So it really forces you to kind of think of fun ways to use them again and again. Tongue growing, fleshy weapon, fruit elegy, served woman, sidewalk woman, fruits breathe, growing fleshy, weapon tongue, serve elegy, fleshy, 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 fleshy woman, growing weapon, sidewalk elegy, tongue served, Breathe, woman, breathe. This is the last one. Kicking through the stretched flesh. There are 1,000 ways for you to encounter a ghost. It is how your relationship to the ghost evolves through time. The flora and fauna drags itself down each leg and sprouts an ecology of scapegrace. The ghost of an idea is its gossip. The ghost of a love is fingerprints on amber goblets. I want to make love to all of the ideas that I've scampered from the bushes, calling their mothers to guide them home. I want to rest in the haystack of powdery mail that has no business slipping through the slit so loudly. I want to grow in a way that reaches not heaven, but the midnight zone. Take me out an algae of a being, resting primordial upon the stone. I want to discover the chemistry of being too late for something and liking it.
Second pictures in the house, like that. So, you know, if we have the good fortune to live long enough and move around communities enough, we get to sort of know each other in different iterations, right? I know Denise D. Santina Ruiz, foremost as a poet. So when I was working out this year, I was like, oh yeah. Asked her to do that, and she was like, okay. That was the sound that came from the at that moment, because she has also moved so thoroughly into being a force for community building and for activism and for good in this city, which she always was, but I just am like, we're just a poet, So I'm super grateful that she's joined us here tonight. Born in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood, D. Santina Ruiz is a queer Boricua creative, a mother, an artist, a writer, and an agitator. Founder, director, and curator of the Honeycomb Network. If you haven't been to the Honeycomb Network, you need to go to the Honeycomb Network in Humboldt Park. She's also the co-creator and co-founder of Books, Brunch, and Botanica, a collaborative project that centers women of color, creatives intentionally from across Chicago communities as facilitators, creatives, and leaders. She's a two-time Gwendolyn Brooks Open Mic Poetry finalist and a blossoming spiritual herbalist / Ruha. She does one or two 17,000 things. Please join me in welcoming D. Santina Ruiz.
A lot of these poems are like 15 plus years old.
Yay!
And it's funny because I was editing up until like the very last moment because, you look through old pieces and it's never really finished, and so I'm going through so many of these pieces, just sort of like crossing certain things out or just being like, no, just realizing that this is also part of that poem, right? Like this life that I've been writing about, for a long time, things that I've observed and seen and experienced. And so this is just really wanting to take you on a journey with me, for some of the things that I've been thinking about since I was young and like a young, like 20-something, little kids running around, single mom and trying to find my place in the world. And so some of them might not be super polished, but, neither am I. So anyway, all right. She wants to be revolutionary like her papi, who taught her how to sow indigenous seeds in her spine, cull its vines from her ankles, keep her sturdy. Showed pictures of La Patria and said, there, the sun never sleeps, never weeps winter's brittle heartbreak. Told her there, the palm trees and breeze lock hands like two young lovers. Lush skies embrace tides of ocean, cloaking motion of earth beneath, dancing to rhythm, seducing stars that wink and flirt with God. Papi was a revolutionary. Told her to get angry when Sister Margaret said Indians were savages, African gods were wicked. Said the next time, tell her Columbus ain't discover shit. Let her know we were before the ship sailed into our skin, leaving bruised promises, unkempt and tousled histories of our last names, generational veins. Many times, Papi wept, shook his head and said, it's not so united in these states. Told her divided plates on one table don't mean it's a buffet. Papi was a revolutionary. He opened her eyes to sunrise in the throats of Palmieri, Colon, declared Marvin a prophet, and Stevie open heart surgery of our conscience. Taught her how to dance, brown feet, clap hands to the beat of a different bongo. She remembers how he and Mommy worked hard to get them everything they asked for but couldn't quite. Managed the plight of 3 jobs under the table, so when welfare came, they told fables of how Papi didn't live there anymore as he hid behind the door of the bathroom. When he left, he said, it's not theft. We owed the debt paid with cabinets bare like a hollow cough. He said, make sure you get an education, but don't sell out invitations to your familia, because that's all you got is your last name, and claim it, make them learn to say it correctly. And she tries. Grow his feathers and fly, open windows and kick down barricades that masquerade ill intention, conception of who she is and who she strives to become. A revolutionary unsung in the trenches, never mentions that sometimes she's still scared and wonders whether she'll make a snippet or a snare in the fabric of her lifetime. Wonders how she'll raise her kids with this war looming in the backyard of the mind, battling addiction to colonial affliction, because it's a hard habit to kick out the territory of your heart. That red, white, and blue pimp who still creeps in at night, not knowing one day she'll be up in arms and ready to fight harder than she ever has, than she ever thought possible. And it will be possible to travel to the place where the ground recognizes her face, and seeing the return of a prodigal daughter amidst the slaughter of shackles. The place she will dance on soil plush and fertile crevices, creating maps of her journey back to her birth motherland. That place where pulse skips and leaps. La Patria, her papi said, where the sun never sleeps. Woo! I was like, cross me out of there, like, no. Thank you. So, I have moved around a lot in my lifetime. I've been a serial mover. Housing in Chicago, enough said, but, there's always been different neighborhoods that I've lived in between Humboldt Park and Lincoln Square, and I always just was really observant of my community, it was just always interesting to me, like the folks that I would see in the community, the people, the personalities, the characters, just the people, and I love capturing it. And so this one in particular was when I lived in a space on Shakespeare in Central Park, and so it was observing, a day of some things that were going on there. So Shakespeare Avenue, all the way live. He tells me it's gonna be an interesting summer. Neighbors to my left have been fighting for 3 nights straight because she had the nerve asking to keep the quiet down for daughter asleep. Response is bitten back, how her home cackles deep into nighttime with no complaints. How sweet burning smells don't merit knocks. Rumbles are brewing as summer impedes. Oh, it's all the way live on Shakespeare, he says, taking a swig. Groups come and go in block spaces, hand animating and loud, letting you know who claims it. Young with big heart, they will shoot you, I am informed. Always the faint drumming of bass on fingertips, far off where mothers fry chicken and kids kick soccer balls into cluttered curbs. Cheeto bags, disposable cups, receipts, cartwheel through grass patches. Downstairs neighbor attempts to plant lovely. She wipes her brow and points her lips at the kids across the street. Malicio, she blurts. On Shakespeare, everyone needs a new muffler, brakes, carburetor, insurance, tires to work on 2 or 3 at a time with cigarettes dangling, a buzz caught between oil changes. Caddy rose slowly, windows rippled where rocks were hurled in defiance. retribution already a slur of drawl. Shakespeare is on and popping, he laughs at my attempts to see the beauty in dangerous dandelions sprout, and I know that they are in fact medicine. I take the one given me by my 2-year-old claiming pretty and agree, knowing sometimes in the bitterness is where we find reprieve. So yeah, this piece, growing up in Humboldt Park, there was always a lot of kids around, always, out at night. There was one particular boy that I would see at the stores, at the corner stores, and he would always ask for money. There's a few of them that would like come in groups here and there, whatever. And, some would give him money, some would just shoo him away. So this particular poem came from an experience that I had with one of the young boys. And just what came from that encounter. Boy, brown boy, 11 years old, needs money, hand extended, needs money for milk, face still tender with waning youth, eyes possess bags of plight, 40-year-old eyes, seeing too much, no more surprise left. Where's your mother, I ask, at home? Home is where I'm headed, warm thoughts, couches, meals. He holds a bag with eggs just bought from the mercado. He just needs enough for milk. I study him and wonder when the last time he was hugged. His face reflects my brothers, my nephews, my son. This boy, brown, still a baby, crawling between the ruins, searching for reprieve and exile among thieves. I wonder about his last full night's sleep. The city coughs and corners him, surrounds the light of him, summons survival, skills sharpened on the belts of brick, glass, concrete, oxygen. How many have walked past his overextended hands, overexploited feet, running tired from defeat, begging just enough to eat, drink. Milk is all he needs to head home. Full day's work, sweatshop in the hood, bought his bedtime stories and baseball games, replaced them with burden, changed his name to number, statistical blunder, and I wonder the future of him, the beauty of him, blossoms through weeds for how long, till he recedes or surrenders the still tender into stone. And if he does, will the trees moan the loss? Will the sky weep for the nameless boy, brown boy, child of civilization, son of the richest nation, land, outstretched just enough for milk, just enough for love? I give him the money for milk and watched him run. So this piece in particular, I want to, it's called Mujer Divina, and it's really special, and I felt like it was so important to read this piece tonight as an homage to a very special person, friend, who passed away last year, named Cecilia Colon. She had me read this poem in our opening that she had in her poem. I just want to dedicate this to her and to my sisters who are in the house who also know her, and it's called Mujer Divina. She is exalted among the exiled, the offspring of Orisha prayers, in oceans tumultuous and tender. She does not come politely most times, a trumpet of tendencies to tell you exactly what she feels and why. Whether you ask or not ask to be here, she births you as alms on concrete, cradling the softest parts of your head until skull is fully formed round as rosary bead. This is who she is. A primitive hieroglyph, the sound of a drum, the hum of a heart, the spirit of a sugar cane, the lactate of breast, the blood between thighs. She appears on fault lines between herself, the tectonics of soul and skin, of warrior and weeper. She is the survivor of womb terrorists, circumcision ceremonies, reproductive rapists, sexism and the struggle against the struggle. She is the bravest. She is the letter to a colonizer in a pocket, the stitch on a freedom flag, a single mother's food stamp, an escape from federal prison, a punch to the eye of an abuser, a biblical runaway, a Mary Magdalene who takes time to wash her own damn feet, money from all the dirt she has walked to get here. She is the one who knows better by default. She has created a survivor's manual carved in the palm of our history. Mujer Divina is a poem to herself, a thunder's laugh, an obsidian arrow, a brass knuckle, a loaf of bread, a fist in the air, the steam from a hot plate, a kiss on a knee scrape. She is the layers of the soil we stand, the crust of creativity, the lithosphere of language, the mantle of memory, the core of creation within us all. So I'm gonna read this last one, and this is real, like, I'm gonna be really honest with this one. I almost didn't, I know, I'm honest with all of them, but this really, because, you know, I was pulling these forms, and I was like, you know, I haven't written in so long, you know, I've been sort of engulfed in the work that I've been doing, and I do write, I just don't write in this way anymore. And so, thinking about what I have been writing, and what does that look like, right? And it is poetic, you know, in many ways as well. And this particular one, this is really, really personal to me. It was during a really deep depression. It was right before I even acquired the Honeycomb Network. I was in deep, deep, deep depression, deep, deep heartbreak. And I was working to try to heal myself, you know, through various ways. Through thinking about herbs, thinking about my, you know, really just going into inward and spiritual practice, right? Not any church in particular, just spiritual, ancestral, all these things. And just, you know, putting oracles, all these things. Anyway, all that to say is that I wrote down every day sort of the recipe that I was using to heal myself. And so I'm going to share it with you because maybe it's a recipe that will help someone else or just like, you know, resonate with you. And if not, you know, just bear witness to what helped me. So, my medicine, bear medicine, lemon balm and ginger, a bit of apple cider vinegar, salt, rosemary, basil, cinnamon, and moon water, lavender, bath, cleansing, clearing, protecting, healing, to bring love, good dreams, clarity, balance and harmony, uncrossing and reversing, healing, purification, get rid of negative energy, burn sage, mopped with holy water, dance and dance it out, dust it out, send it all back where it came from, tarot pulled, reverse, 10 of swords, my medicine, sharing, quickening, pulling together with friends, or gathering, or talking to a friend. I don't know, today has been me holding me. Medicine, shaman's death, death and rebirth, release the burden, shifting, honey water, bath tool shun, self-affirmations in the mirror, releasing, reversing, protecting, my medicine, moon lodge, retreat, rest, replenish your own energy, support yourself by regrouping your energy so you may find the strength to carry on. Medicine, give thanks, drop out, dance, and move the energy, trust, manifest, prepare for the rebirth, don't project, stay inward, release, get on with life, you are beauty, the best fighter is never angry, we control by letting go, we win by surrendering. Thank you.
One more time for Santina Ruiz. Thank you all for being here. A round of applause for our incredibly hardworking and we are so appreciative. A couple of quick things. We are here the third Wednesday of every month. Please do come back. If you're not on the mailing list, you can pop on a little iPad back there in the back and sign up. Hang out, have a beverage, make a poetry friend. I encourage all my fellow introverts to like talk to one person. One person you don't know, or only know a little bit. And I think that is all. Thank you, everyone. Stay.